here's another reason why you want to take control of what you're doing.
Everything kind of funnels into the only winning move is not to play the game.
I don't know, guys. This whole thing sounds pre-recorded.
Welcome to episode 59 of the Weather Report. How you guys doing? I'm Bruce McGee. We got Christian over there. We've got Jason from Horrible Designs over there. We got there we go. Over there is Ken. He's out getting something to drink right now, but we want to welcome you here to
the damn beer. Jeez, my God, it's
drink Wisconsin. What? Drink Wisconsinly. I love it.
It's a bottle opener for my Stella Artois.
Why are you even drinking it? Why drink Stella? I mean, why not just drink water?
It's because it's so good.
It's like
it's this much less gay than Bud Light.
Stella's not bad. It's not bad.
Stella's delicious. Stella's delicious.
You can sit down and have a couple of them and feel fine. You don't feel like you just ate a whole loaf of bread.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like drinking Hefeweizen. When you ever drink Hefeweizen, oh my God, dude! You want to drink 2 or 3 Hefeweizens, you feel like you're bloated for a week.
And I figured with the 7 whiskeys I've already had today, I should probably ease down a little bit.
Hydrate.
Well, I hear that even your soul is sore today. So what's up, Ken?
Oh, I did yard work, raking. That kind of stuff, digging of things, pulling out of shrubbery from the ground, the cold, hard, clay-ridden ground.
Did you get
Go ahead.
Did you get a shrubbery for the Knights Who Say Knee?
Yes, I did.
All right, good.
I did a shrubbery. I did, and I liked that. That was an excellent reference. That's why we're friends.
See, there's somebody on the audio again. I don't know where it's coming from, but
it's coming from somewhere. That's good. It's good. It's good sound. So no, I just did some yard work, did some things, and did some computer work, did some new product designs here. Went to a car show, went and met. So have you ever having the opportunity of meet famous people like an NFL Hall of Famer?
Right.
And have it mean nothing? That was the waste of time. I was in Minnesota at a Hall of Famer's place. Chris Schwab. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he was a Hall of Famer, 1998. Played for the Vikings for like 15, 20 years. And then Dave Osborne was there too, was another Viking player. And these guys are both into their 70s. But so I'm not a sports guy. It was a waste of time in that side of things. But he has kind of a man cave. And I love history. And this guy had the collection of NFL stuff from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. That was so cool to see. And it was a slice of these guys. So remember, the NFL guys in the 60s and 70s weren't making tens of millions of dollars. They were just pretty much, when they got out, they had to have a career or they were destitute. So this guy bought a pole barn in this town, and it's kind of a southeastern Minnesota, south of Lakeville area. And it was just like a pole barn that him and his buddy, the other football player, they redid it themselves. And the guy's like, I'm kind of handy. So, I took care of we did all the insulating, and if we put this room up, I did all this, I made this addition. It's just funny hearing these NHL Hall of Famers more excited to tell you about what they did to this building in the 90s to set up this thing. It was really cool. It was an excellent experience.
Ken, was it NHL or NFL, or was it the NBA?
I don't know. I don't watch basketball. So it was something. Okay. He had a motorcycle, so that was good.
All right.
No,
cool.
it was NFL.
Okay, because you said NHL too. So,
yeah. Well, and it was and NLB and BLM.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the audience out here, because I've got 2 guys at least that are not ballers at all. I know that they can't. I know that I spent today watching Rory McIlroy win his first green jacket. So I mean,
is he still racing? Who knew?
Yes, he's actually quite proficient now with all those new horses he has, racing the
There we go.
horses.
Oh,
And I don't know if a Christian's a baller or not, but I mean, I love all the sports balls. So I mean, I had a good weekend.
I'll give
Of
you a
course,
little
you love. Bruce loves the balls.
I do
Here's-
love
He
the
does.
balls. I'm
Here's
gay
the
like
like
that.
as we
I
say
mean,
in the
I'm gay
morning
like
show.
that. So
In
go
the
ahead.
morning show, these are the kind of things you're going to hear in the morning show. So we're having kind of a special show tonight. We're not exactly we're not doing a guest. It's just the four of us talking about some. And if you want to get us into the mood, as they say.
Well, speaking of the morning show, the weather view at captivate.fm is where you can get the morning show for your audio pleasure. But if you really want to go and you want to join in, you can go to the weather view live on X every morning at 6 a.m. Pacific on your favorite podcast app, or you can join us on X. I mean, that's where we are. So, but hey, basically that's what we do in the morning. But we're here for the weather report today, and what we want to talk about today is the big scary word that's been running around for a couple of weeks now, and everybody's running around with their head on fire because everybody's talking about tariffs and how terrified they are of what's going on with their economies and all this other junk that's happening. There's a lot of propaganda out there. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of people out there saying they know what the hell tariffs are and what they aren't. There's a lot of people out there saying what tariffs are going to do, what they're not going to do. We're going to try to clear the air tonight a little bit, but Ken has been like a rock for me for the last couple of weeks, actually explaining how tariffs are, because number one, the tariffs affect him and his business. They're also going to affect us as consumers. We're going to be here tonight to kind of give you an idea of what actually tariffs are, what we can do to improve our economies, what we can do to stave off the potential inflation, the recession, the depression, whatever is going to come. And finally, we're just kind of give you a bit of ease on how to be self-reliant and things like that. So Ken, I'm going to let you take the helm right here and tell us exactly what are tariffs.
Well, tariffs basically it's just saying that if you want to sell something in our country, or if you want to sell something from or in our country, we're going to charge you a tax on getting it over here. And there's many reasons for that. But the first thing you got to realize is why we're in this position right now. And you got to go back a little bit in history. After World War II, the whole world was basically decimated except for the United States. So we turned into the manufacturing mecca of the world. End of story, done. By the time the 60s came, we were so hugely powerful. As other countries were starting to come up, they had some cheaper labor. You'd start to see some things go. And Bruce, you and me are older than these other two young lads with us.
Yes.
But we can remember when if something was made in Japan, you laughed at it. And you got to remember, people laughed at Toyotas and Datsuns, and they were Datsun back then, not Nissan. I still call it Twitter. I don't call it X. I still call Nissan's Datsun. It's a Datsun Maxima. Let's get real. Anyway, but people laughed at all these cars, and it turns out they were better. They shouldn't have been laughing. Should have been paying attention. There was a bunch of union things that happened. There was strikes, and the unions gained more power over these years. The government started really listening to the environmental lobby and the OSHA. This kind of stuff happened. So you had a position where by the 80s, just to be in line with what government wants you to be to make money, it would got to be really, really expensive. So compliance got to be a whole thing that, in the 50s, there was no compliance floor at 3M. Now there's a building of compliance at 3M. Right. That's what they do it's comply with government standards. We did this to ourselves by we outdrove our talent, or is kind of what we did, because we there's jobs that are repetitive, they're boring, and they didn't pay very well for a reason, because they're repetitive and they're boring. We got to the point in this country that the repetitive and boring jobs, these people were actually starting to make some real money. In other countries, those repetitive and boring jobs had a line of people in a third world country waiting to come in just to do something, to make $5 a day that they could live off. They could feed their family. It's a horrible way to live. And that's that country. That's not our country. But what happened here is we just said, we're businesses. Well, that place can make it better than we. It's cheaper to ship that 14,000 miles across an ocean over the course of 3 weeks, get it to a port here, go through customs, pay some sort of whatever tariff or whatever it's going to be, grease, whatever skids have to be greased, ship it somewhere in the country that's as huge. It is one of the largest countries in the world. It's still cheaper to do that than to make it here. And we did that to ourselves. So at the same time,
now the question is, how long have we been doing that?
Well, it's like I said, it started in the 60s when we started outsourcing to Japan.
Exactly.
So this is nothing new. But what we had on the flip side of that is all these other countries said, hey, let's make it so that when they want to sell their stuff to us, because remember, for 30, 40 years, we were the only ones manufacturing in the country, in the world. So we were exporting huge amounts to other countries. Now, the other countries started to make their own stuff. Now, granted, it was not as good. They were still learning how to produce things. And so what happened was they're like, if we can put a tariff on this American stuff coming over, it gives us a chance to, it gives a competitive chance to the people here in this country trying to get going.
Correct.
And that's what they did. And our government just sat there and went, yeah, all right. They're still buying from us. Who cares? And it led to a point where it was so much in cahoot. You hear tariffs here, there, tariffs there. It was finally with Trump, and these tariffs are going to hurt me personally in a large way. They're horrible. We'll get into that about what they're going to do, why it's going to hurt everybody if it lasts. If it works, brilliant. This was excellent. So that's why I'm giving it a shot. But all these tariffs, what they did is now we got to a point where we're still manufacturing a huge amount. People say nothing gets made here. We're the second largest manufacturer in the world behind China. And we're not way behind. We're the second biggest manufacturer of goods. We tend to manufacture more expensive stuff. So, we're making, crazy medical devices and, of course, our cars and aerospace and all kinds of stuff. The industrial military complex. I mean, the military stuff that we do, the huge amount of ordnance and technologies for military vehicles, all that stuff that we do here. We're the second place to that is so far behind us. We're way ahead. So we still manufacture a lot. Airplanes, we still manufacture a lot here. However, consumer goods, you can find a company here or there that does it. But for the most part, consumer goods are made all over the world, Mexico, Canada, and anywhere that the labor and the compliance kind of stuff you have to do is a lot less expensive. And by a lot less expensive, I mean by factors of 10 or 20. Yeah. So this makes, even with 145% tariff, guess what? It's still cheaper to make stuff in China than it is here with 145% tariff. And that's because of regulation, wages, and compliance.
Okay, so let's go to the next question: is who pays the price? Now I know that there's two people in here who are going to pay the ultimate price. You can, and most likely Jason from Horrible Designs are going to be paying the most off of it. I'm in an industry that runs on contract to actual industries that deal with companies from China. I'm not sure if Christian gets affected by any of this, but at least 3 out of the 4 of us here get affected by tariffs. So who's actually paying the price? So let's start with Jason first. I want to hear what he has to say.
Well, I'm going to be paying higher prices for goods, and then that's going to be passed off to the consumer.
How much can you absorb? How much can you absorb of what that is?
Since I'm fairly small, not much.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I start losing money. I still am not really making much at all at the end of the year. But I'm going to wind up, if I don't raise my prices for these tariffs, then I'm going to wind up losing. Where it's just, I'm paying people to take my stuff.
Yeah. Remind people here that are in the audience and that are going to be listening on the audio podcasting side, what actually you do.
Well, I sell a whole bunch of stuff. I sell mugs, t-shirts, vinyl decals, 20-ounce skinny tumblers, shot glasses, drink koozies, drink coasters, mouse pads, magnets, and stickers. So a lot of
most of those materials come from
other countries. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Ken, you want to jump in?
So yeah, absolutely. So this is what's going to happen. So you got a tariff. So this is educating people is important, and most people never start a business, never invent anything. I've got dozens of patents to my name. I've invented hundreds and hundreds of products. I understand how this works. So let's say, Bruce, you come up with an idea for a widget. Say it's some kind of thing to use on your grill, right? That everyone in the country can buy. You can make it for $10. Now, a lot of people say, oh, okay, well, you make it for 10, you sell it for 20, you double your money. Well, here's how this works. It isn't like that. That's not the way consumers work. Have anyone ever gone to a retail clothing store, whether it was Sears back in the day, J.C. Penney, any of those places, and gone to the clearance rack where you have 70% off?
Yeah.
They're still making money on the 70% off.
Yes, they are.
They're just clearing out. They're just barely, but they're not losing money on that. Well, this is how this works. So you make a spatula for $10. It's the best spatula ever made in the world, but no one knows about it. So that spatula cost you $50,000 to make. All right. So before you even sold one, you're $50,000 into it, from tooling and everything you needed to do, design work. So you sell it for $10. It's you have a $50,000 nut right now that you got to break. So do the math on that. How many spatulas do you sell to break even? Well, a lot. How many? How do you get to sell them? Well, you have to market that. You have to package it. You have to make deals. You have to have dealers. You have to have distributors. Everybody takes a cut. So the cut out the middleman idea, this is what they're talking about. So you're going to make something for $10. You're going to sell it to a distributor for $15. The distributor will sell it to the dealer for $20. The dealer then sells it to the consumer for $25. Just as a basic, just easy numbers, right?
Yeah.
So now that $10 one there. So now you're only making $5 at that point. So your margins are small at that point, unless you can sell everything full retail, because you can also sell it for $25, right? So the way this all happens is, okay, now that $10 is gone up 145 cents. So now that $10 that spatula costs you $24.50. What does that do? Well, what it's doing right now, and I've been kind of researching this, getting ready for the show, is companies are, and I'm not speaking about any of my company, right? We're not different deal, but a lot of companies are just looking at it going, we're going to wait for these tariffs to go over, or we just wait and see what we have. We literally can't do this. So we're not ordering. We're going to put that order on hold. Well, what happens over in production land, and this isn't just China, this is everywhere. If you have a good customer that makes 50,000, orders 50,000 of something quarterly, and you're halfway through the quarter, knowing that the chance that they're going to order another 50,000 in June is about 100%, maybe 99. So they've already started producing. So they have them sitting there, they're sitting there ready to go, packaged, maybe boxed up even, so that when you order, they're Johnny on the spot. Get your order. Here it comes. Now the tariffs come, and the company will call over there and say, hey, we're not going to order that, or we don't need that order in June. Well, this other company that's already started the manufacturing process to try and get ahead of things is now sitting on this product when they could have been doing something else.
Right.
Now that happens tens of thousands of times over the course of a week, which is exactly what's happening over there. And a lot of these Chinese companies now are busting at the seams, and the ports over in China right now are packing up with containers full that aren't going on ships, because they said, whoa. Because what he did was, anything that's on the water on the way here or in the air on the way here, until it hits customs and you pay the tariff, it's considered on its way. So it's not it's not like backdated. It's just like when he says effective immediately, he means
receptacle, yeah.
He means that day, immediately. Yeah. So anything that came in after he said that now has a tariff. Now the tariff a week ago was 25%, and then it was 50%, and then it was 145%. Yeah. So compliance in companies is going absolutely cuckoo right now. Now, all right. So that's just a little bit of background.
Yeah.
What happens now is small business in this country absolutely crucially depends on Chinese products, components, this and that. Circuit boards, plastic parts, cheap die-cast aluminum fixtures, and
Raw
all kinds of
material.
different
Raw
all
material.
kinds raw materials. I've got friends that work in the industry and restaurant industry for doing trash compaction. Well, guess what? The hydraulic arms from the trash compactors come from China. So now you have a $5,000 trash compactor that just had a $2,200 increase in cost. What are you going to do? Do you going to pass it on, or do you just have to wait? So these are the things that they don't think about when this is how the tariffs are going to affect you. So the cost of making anything is going through the roof. So we had the same problem when we had the supply chain issues during COVID.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that question. How is this different than COVID? Because it is different than COVID. I mean, this is a situation that could repair itself within a couple of days after somebody lifts the tariff. I mean,
hours. You kidding me? Yeah. 3 hours after he says, "Okay, we made a deal, everything's good," everything would change. The tariffs are really, really good for some people. If you're, here's my tip: buy Harley Davidson stock right now. They just got rid of their woke CEO, and they're looking for a new one. And now Japanese bikes are tariffed at 145%. It's going to be a good year for Harley. They just came out with a new line of bikes, so it is good for some people. The auto unions, the workers unions, and things like that. They love tariffs because it takes the heat off of them to have to lower their to lower their salaries down to realistic numbers. If you're working at the Ford plant bolting bumpers on a new Maverick, making $45 an hour, it's you good for you. And I hope you do it the rest of your life and everything's fine and stuff like that, but it's not worth that. The job you're doing is not worth what you're getting paid. Yeah. So go home laughing every night and have a cigar and a bourbon and just be like, wow, another day I stuck it to the man. So that's what you're doing. Because that job can be done easily by a $15 to $20 an hour person that really needs the work.
Yeah.
But they won't hire that person because they're not union. So
there we go. Well, let's talk about what we can do, because me, you, Jason, Christian up there, we all have families. We all have, most of us have 9 to 5s. Some of us have side businesses. Some of us have all kinds of other things going on. How can we create wealth in this rigged system that we have right now? Because basically with the tariffs going on, it's pretty much rigged against the small business person, those people that want to get ahead. But it's not all bad news. I mean, really, what Jason Staples says, wherever there's a niche to be exploited, exploit it. If there's a need, try to fill that need. So
right. Yeah. So, the first steps are, what can you do that you know how to do, that you could take take a little bit of the air out of the room, so to speak, and say, all right, I'm going to create this thing, and I'm going to say, this is made here. It's made in America. It's made by Americans. It's made, and ride that wave. If there's something you can do, Jason's doing it with his horrible designs. You hear the same thing where people are like, most American flags are made in China and most MAGA hats are made in China. So what? You can make them here. Yeah, so be the guy that makes American flags here. Start sewing up American flags made in America, put a website out there, say MAGA on one side, and then have a whole separate site that says something about, how awesome Biden was, and just exploit all of it.
Yeah, last time I checked, nobody in China comes over here to mow lawns, pick up poop, walk dogs, all that other stuff that you can do to be stacking, your experiences, your hobbies, your loves. Not saying that everybody loves to do that, but I mean, there are certain things that you can do that are worth money that people just they just flap it on by because they think it's not important, but people actually need those things done for them. It's amazing how many people can make money off of stuff that they just do every day.
So Duchess brings up a good point. So I brought her comment up on stage. She buys only American-made flags. God bless you. You're great. The fabric that those flags are made of are made in China. So it's one of those things, and you have to look at things. If you look at stuff that says like, assembled in the United States or whatever like that, that means stuff came from everywhere else. Made in America, there's very, very strict laws about what made in the USA means. And with an American flag, and this is a funny thing, you can say it's an American made flag. All of the fabric came from China. The string, the machines that you sewed them together with, the people maybe that sewed them there might have come from China, but they're in Baltimore. So you can say it's made in America. So what I'm saying is the depth of the creep, like the spider web of how much is made in China that's going to hurt people, just everyday people, it's exponential.
I don't remember. I don't remember what state it was in, and I think I have it bookmarked here on my X, but some state had their whole textile industry taken away from them back when NAFTA was ratified, and we made that North American trade agreement with all the Southern American countries, and totally decimated these.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, was it taken away or was it lost? Because that's different.
It was lost. Here it is. This is a woman. I can't remember what her name is, but I'll put it in the show notes. And it's a what she's doing is she's actually showing you the textile mills that were in her area, and all of them are gone.
Right.
All of them. I mean,
because they couldn't afford this. They couldn't compete.
They could not compete.
And why can't they compete? And this
because
goes exactly
people are
back
willing to work for a nickel an hour.
Yep.
That's basically it. I mean,
well, but that's hearsay. So what I say is show me the people making a nickel an hour. I'm sure you can find a slave shop run in Mexico somewhere.
Yeah.
But like I said, when you go over to these other countries, there's people lined up to get those jobs.
Yes.
And if you look at the countries, like you look at a country like China, or you start with Japan. Japan was decimated after the war. They figured out how to produce things. They figured out how to do it well. Their culture, the whole culture revolved around, trying to be the best in the world at this new thing of production. And they did it to the point where it couldn't afford to build anything in Japan anymore. It's just as expensive to build something there as it is here.
Right.
Japan builds everything in China.
Yeah, and it's not just about wages. It's about regulations. It's about all kinds of other things that get in the way of businesses being able to operate.
Exactly.
And the same thing happens to here. So when we're talking about going ahead and creating wealth during a rigged system, is that we've got to think about those things. Like I said, this last couple of weekends, I've been having yard sales. My wife wanted to have a yard sale. We're getting rid of a bunch of stuff. It was the perfect time to, and Ken knows this, and I think Jason knows this. I don't know, Christian, but I've been working on my backyard nursery. So what I do is I actually grow soil. That's what I do. But
is it soil? Because I thought you had babies back there.
No, I grow soil.
I think you were incubating humans,
but
making your own Soylent Green.
Yeah, but I also start seedlings, and I sell these seedlings to the local gardeners that are around, and that's how I recoup my costs of my garden. But also, I not only do I recoup that cost, I also recoup more money on top of that I can use for other things. And these are certain things. This was a hobby of mine. That's all it was. It was a hobby. And I just kept building on top of the hobby, educating myself a little bit more and more. And, we're all doing this. Ken, you do that with art. Jason, you do that with art. Christian, I don't know what the hell you do, but you're doing something to make money on the side somewhere. So, I mean, we're all have to make do with what we've got going on right now, not just to make ends meet, but to be able to build your wealth on top of your knowledge that you have, the passions that you have. If you're not doing that, you're wasting your time, really.
Exactly. And to the factory workers that have lost their jobs, it's not that I'm being cold. I'm not. It sounds like a cold, harsh reality. But if you don't see the writing on the wall, that's your fault. That's not society's fault. You need to look at what's actually going on. I feel terrible for someone that loses their job.
Yeah.
I know people. We had our friend Corey on that was on, last month.
Mm-hmm.
He did 28 years at 3M, was a pretty high up manager there, making a ton of money. And he was just one day, you have no job anymore. You
Mhm.
know, now he's 56 and has to figure out how to start over again. You know,
Yeah.
you never know what's going to happen. So having something on the side, my dad always told me, always have a little side action, have a side gig, do something, because if things happen, they're out of your control. You know, if you're working for somebody, if you work for somebody, you have one client, you know.
Yes.
And this, I love this
How many times has
analogy.
Jason said that to us?
Everyone's an entrepreneur, and if you're working for someone, you have one client.
Yes.
So you better make goddamn sure that that client thinks that you are absolutely indispensable.
Yes.
And we're not. So, you know, like you said, you do that. Jason started up something, you know, the horrible designs and stickers and decals. And he can tell you, Jason, feel free to jump in and speak to this. You didn't just say, oh, I'm going to get a printer and print stuff, and then started, you know, buying Bugatti Veyrons and stuff. It's been a hard thing.
It has been, yes. Yeah, it, as most people know, I started out with drop shipping, and then I slowly turned it into where I started buying all the stuff myself. So now I produce it all myself, and it's all made in my house in this little room here that I'm in. It's been a struggle, and it continues to be a struggle, but it's the way it goes.
Yeah, exactly. So, in what you've done was if you just took the ball and ran with it and didn't stop.
Mhm.
So the people that win in business are mostly the people that just don't give up.
And I'm not going to give up.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I don't see the
Absolutely.
point. I don't see the point in stopping now. I mean, it's kind of like where, you know, I've got Frodo and we're at the mountain. Why not just keep going and throw the damn ring in the volcano and be done? You know, just keep going.
Yeah, in my
Exactly.
in my niche, it's always going to be about educating people into, you know, organic gardening, you know, treating your soil right, so that when it does come down to the nitty gritty, you're able to grow a carrot or some lettuce or something to sustain yourself. And you know, as hard as I try, you know, people just want to do it the easy way: go to the big box store, buy the Martha Stewart Miracle Grow, buy the hybrid plant, put it in there, and the next year they come back and they have to do the same thing over again and spend hundreds of dollars to keep their gardens going, where I can give them the education that they need, that they won't need that. And actually, like Jason says, you know, a lot of the times is that work themselves into where they don't need you. So you just keep a fresh set of customers, but you have a referral line on down the line that keeps referring people to you, or be able to educate them, and you just make the whole world a better place. So I mean, it's really a win-win situation when it comes down to what do I want to say? Grabbing your hobbies and making them something that can make you a dollar here and there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. And like I was saying before, don't give up. I mean, I can see the exhaust vent on the Death Star, and I've got the X-wing, so keep going. I'll do another reference in a little bit.
I like the references.
I like those references too.
You're my favorite geek.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the Infinity Gauntlet, and I'm about ready to snap it. I'm Tony Stark. I'm ready to say I am Iron Man. It's almost the end.
Yes.
I'll do in the reference in a little bit.
No, I love it. Well, and you brought up, you know, some good points. You know, you have to keep after it. You have to keep doing it. One of the things you have to have, and I was in a conversation. I'm in the Lincoln Continental Owners Club, and we went on a run. It was like 14 or 15 of us in our big old Lincolns. It crossed the whole state, 14 cars. They're very large. But we went on a trip, and one of the guys I was talking to, a friend of mine, he's a machinist, and he works for a company now as a machinist, and he's looking at possibly starting his own company. And he looked at me and he asked the one question that most people don't ask when they want to start a business. He goes, how do you find work? How do you find the people? And this brings up what we are right here, the four of us.
Mhm.
We have all met each other through networks.
Yep.
Christian and I met through the network of a neighborhood we both happen to live in. Bruce and Jason and myself, we met through a network that used to be called the Nomad Network, that was run by Jason Stapleton. You can go jasonstapleton.com, check out what he does. He's a guru and a marketing genius.
Yes, he's marketing genius.
But this is a network that we've all lived. Now, all of us have done commerce with each other. So the four of us, yes, we're friends, but we're also I needed
Customers.
I needed something made for giveaway for the Arizona Tiki Oasis that I'm going away. There's giveaways, and I give away people, and I just want to be part of that. I like that giving part. And so I paid Jason to make me some stuff, and I hope I overpaid you, because that was the point. The problem is he over delivered as usual.
As
right?
usual.
As
Yeah.
usual.
As usual.
Freaking guy. Jesus Christ. Man,
Just wait.
the value.
Wait till you talk to your daughter about the stickers I did for her.
Oh my God. I can't wait to hear about that. But anyway, and Bruce is, you're looking at the Weathered Report logo right there. Bruce paid me to do that logo before I was on the show, before it was anything. I've done, we do these things with each other, and it's a network of people, and we're we're always plugging each other's stuff wherever we can.
Right.
And so we really try. Horrible Designs, though, let's just say, I'm just going to throw a plug in for him. There is not a better customer service human being on the face of planet Earth than Jason from Horrible Designs. There he is right there. It's and
Thanks,
Ken. Jason, you and I talked about this, and this is, again, these are the kind of things, it might sound off topic with tariffs enough, but it's not. Customer service can get past all of that, because you've built a loyal base, and these people that in my Lincoln Club, there's one person in my Lincoln Club, her. You've made shirts for us, stickers, everything. She screams she wouldn't care what it costs. And if you were having a problem with the tariffs and stuff and said, hey, this is gonna be an extra $5 now, you wouldn't even blink an eye. People will understand. So getting through the tariffs of how to kind of navigate through them. First of all, be patient with the store owners. Don't go in and raise holy hell because they say this is $10 more now, and it's just there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do, because it's probably actually should be $50 more, and they're just eating a lot of that profit just to stay alive. So my message for everyone out there, go out and shop, go out and do your thing. If stuff seems expensive, talk to the store manager, talk to them and say, is this, how's the tariffs affecting you? What's going on there? And if you can afford to support them, support them. Pay the extra money.
Yeah. You don't have to shop at Walmart or Costco or Home Depot or anything like that. You can go to your small business person and like I said, there's a lot to be said for supporting small business. We have to, because if we're
like of one mind, my friend. We're like of one mind, because this is exactly where this is leading.
Yeah.
The way to survive this now and make sure everyone else around you survives is go local. Don't stay off Amazon, stay off all of these big, and just go to the local store. Pay a little bit more at the local grocery store or the local gas station for the quart of milk or whatever you're going to buy. Do those things, and we'll all get through this just fine. Go ahead, Jason.
One thing you can also do, Amazon also has the verified small business logo for places that are certified small businesses you can buy from. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Don't forget Jason. Don't ever forget Jason.
But you can't trust Amazon, because they could be ordering from something that they think is Horrible Designs. It isn't Horrible Designs. That's why I say, don't go to horribledesigns.com.
Yeah.
Don't go to Amazon. So if you find, here's this, you bring up a very good point. So go to Amazon, find your verified, American suppliers, American business, go to their website directly and buy directly from them.
Yes.
And do that, because you use Amazon search engine.
Most of the time it's cheaper. Yes. Because most of the time it's cheaper, because Amazon does charge a 15% markup on top of my cost.
Yes.
Cool.
So
that's why I'm not on Amazon.
Yeah. I usually want to be eating the 15% cost for Amazon.
Right. And I know your margins, because we talked about it, and you don't have a 15% margin.
No, I don't.
So you're really losing money. And this is what a lot of people are doing. So go to horribledesigns.com if you want to buy his stuff. Go to madcasestudio.com if you want to buy my stuff.
Yeah.
Go to your local whatever store, go to the local craft store for a gift. Go to that, buy local and all this stuff, because right now these people are going to get hurt the most.
Mhm.
And because, honestly, craft stores and things like that, a lot of their stuff comes out of China because they're buying
It
it through
does.
wholesale places and stuff. If it's already here and in their store, if it says made in China, buy it because they're going to need you to buy that.
Yeah.
If it's something that you want. So,
Yeah.
but if you can find people that are doing stuff, crafters, artists, whatever, buy from them direct. That's actually even better.
Well, a lot of the people out there today are going out and doing the same thing that they did during COVID, and they are going mad, and they are trying to buy everything they can off the shelves. They're panic buying,
Which is
because
smart.
they don't know what's going to be going on with anything. Oh, Aaron. And what we
I
want to talk
second.
about,
Let's pause. Let's pause. Let's put that
pause
back
for a
up
minute.
there.
Let's
We're gonna
pause for a
pause for a minute and for a little station identification. Go to I had to say it podcast.com for all of your offensive needs. Whatever you need, you can go there. Listen to his show. It's fantastic. I'm absolutely addicted. I'm his biggest fan. Aaron, you have the best show. You're the best podcast. Joe Rogan could learn a few things from you, especially some words that I didn't know.
Find the gorilla screaming into the mic. And it said, I had to say it
Yes.
podcast. And that's exactly where you
Or send him a message and ask him about the Muppet, because there's a certain description of a Muppet that he has that's beautiful. Anyway,
It has to do with jelly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to protecting your assets and trying to inflation proof your savings, because basically we're going to be going through a recession. I mean, it's here. I mean, we've been trying to stave it off forever. I don't want to get really, really uptight with administrations and how they've treated the economy, but there is a certain amount of blame to be shown all over the place. So Aaron's just all over the place in the chat room. We love it. You guys, the chat room's open, so if you want to come in and chat about anything, you just go ahead. We'll try to put you up there if you've got something great to say. And Aaron always has something great to say. But yeah, we want to try to inflation proof what we've got, because what we're going to be doing is not only we're going to be shopping for higher prices, we also have to worry about what's going on with our 401ks, what's going on with our assets, houses, cars, you name it. It's all either going to be more expensive to either fix, it's going to be more expensive to buy, it's going to be more expensive to save. So I mean, there's basically something that we have to do. And I guess one of the things I would do is, I'm a big Bitcoin guy, so I'm not going to really get on a Bitcoin tear, but you can go out there and you can get Bitcoin for free. And a Bitcoin is an asset that is coming up in you can say what you want, Ken. I don't care. La 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 la. Anyway, go to fountain.fm, and if you're a podcast listener, go to fountain.fm and get yourself a podcast app and listen to this podcast on fountain.fm, and you can get free Bitcoin. That's free Bitcoin. Anyway, precious metals. A lot of people. Jeez. Okay. All right.
You're my gal.
Yeah, and Ken, you already know my stance on the whole Bitcoin thing. It's,
right.
It's for me, it's like playing the lottery.
Yeah.
Right.
Excuse me. Back to my spiel.
Can I jump in here just quickly
Go
for
ahead,
a second?
We've been waiting for you to talk all night.
The long silent Christian.
All of you need to know before anything else happens here. Any of the advice or information that you're about to hear, you should go and weigh it against a trusted,
absolutely,
financial advisor. Because I've seen the outline, and there's things on the outline that nearly caused me to have an aneurysm.
Yes.
We are not financial advisors. That's for sure. We are,
ladies and gentlemen,
financial advisors.
We need to strap our 5-point harness on now.
Your strap on?
The harness.
Bruce is strap on.
Bruce is got the strap on.
Precious metals, land, tangible goods with lasting value, like classic cars, tools, and even food storage. Let's talk about Trusser LLCs, real estate and business ventures. Let's talk about proper insurance for health, your property, and your liabilities. Let's take a look at those assets that you have. Everybody has one of these assets. Somebody's holding some of those assets. You've got to be protecting your assets. You got to be protecting your ass. Okay. And the only way that you could do that, number one, is just start saving, even if it's $1, even if it's a nickel. I mean, we're talking with dough. Yeah, lead and brass. Exactly. Lead and brass is excellent. I mean, Ken's right there with you.
Well,
But
that protects all your assets and gets more of them.
but a lot of people are, they're clowning on Doge, and they're clowning on the waste and the fraud and all this stuff that they're saving or what not saving. But let me tell you what, you pick up enough pennies and dollars and stick them in a bucket, and that bucket fills up pretty goddamn quick. And that's probably money that you don't have. I mean, that's what I'm saying about protecting your assets and stuff like that. We've got to bolster that stuff. Some of you guys has assets, some of you don't. Most of us do. And like I said, I don't know how involved I want to get into telling you how to protect your assets. Number one, because I'm not a financial advisor. There's plenty of financial advisors out there. Get a hold of one. Talk to them for about 5 minutes. If it's worth, $500, $1,000, $1,500 to get in there and have him, look at your portfolio and find out what you can do to protect it, it's worth it. If you got enough money to where you can pay one on a monthly or yearly basis, find out. Christian, go ahead.
I just want to stop for a second and say, do any of you understand what an AUM, Assets Under Management Advisor, is?
AUM, go ahead.
You go to these places.
Yes.
And you have an account at a number of these large, I won't say names because you know who I'm talking about. You pay them a percentage of your assets.
Correct.
Not the growth.
Correct.
You pay 1.5% on your $1.5 million. What's the math on that a year?
10.5.
Yeah.
$1.5 million.
Yeah, $1.5 million.
Okay.
10.5. Yeah, 10.5.
So you're paying 10.5 for the same advice they gave 3 people ahead of you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that if it's worth it to you, if it has to be worth it to you, because I've been thinking about it. I mean,
Bruce,
I listen to several people either on the radio or on a podcast. Would I give them my money right now? No. Why? Because I think I can do pretty good on my own with my own intuition. Go ahead.
That's where I'm trying to get this whole conversation a little bit to go.
I know.
You need to make sure you're spending money in places where it makes sense.
Thank you.
Because there are times when people blow huge amounts of money looking for the magic bullet.
Oh,
and you don't find them
touchdown
ever.
Touchdown. Yes. There's no magic
This is
bullet.
why I don't invest in Bitcoin. I don't know it. I don't believe in it. I don't understand it. I think it's a sham. Why would I put a penny into it?
Well, you believe in this?
Of course I believe in that because it's usable. And I can do what that can buy me. That can buy me more guns and old cars.
Yeah.
And old cars is what I've been dealing in with for years and years and years.
I'm trying to get everyone to think about make good choices with what you're going to do, form a plan, and then stick to it.
Stick to it.
And speaking of sticks, make sure you save a tree, eat a beaver.
And where do you get that? Where do you get that at?
You can get that at horribledesigns.com.
Where was that?
There you go.
Horribledesigns.com.
And your logo looks like this, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
There we go.
Because we're all about saving the environment.
Heavy duty.
Save a tree, eat a beaver.
But it goes to say, so yes, you need to protect what you have. You know, we were driving in the countryside today as we were getting ready for our big trip next week. We had to go get some provisions, mostly beef jerky from like the best beef jerky place in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin. But so we're driving through all these county roads and farms and things like that. And my wife brought up a really good point. You drive by a lot of these old farmhouses that are really, you can tell people still live there, but they're run down. There's overgrown bushes everywhere. It's not just out in the country, of course, it's everywhere. You own a home, and it's obviously that these places are owned. It's a house on a farm, and it's not taken care of at all. I mean, not even at all. It's not like, okay, a roof's expensive or this. It's just this crap laying everywhere like garbage. 55-gallon drums of God knows what, and every truck that they've owned for the last 20 years is parked in the front yard. And it's like, okay, you drive by these farms. Christian, I know Bruce, you probably don't see much of this out in
Oh,
California.
I see it all over to California. I see it all over in California. Believe me, I do.
It's just like, all right, you guys with just this much, again, getting to Christian's point, protect what you have.
Exactly. Ken, you just had that big hailstorm, ripped all your siding off of your freaking house. What would have happened? What would have happened to the value of your house if you would just said, "Fuck it, I'm not fixing it"?
Exactly.
Where's the value of your investment?
It would have tanked,
right?
And the $38,000 in damage that happened would have probably been a $75,000 loss in what the house was worth. Not to mention dropping probably 5% of either house on either side of me as well as their values. So, it's in everyone's best interest to keep up their stuff. It's the same with, I talk about cars a lot because it's in my head. People buy a new car and don't take care of it. Yeah. If you buy a new car, if you've bought a new car in the last 40 years and simply took care of it the way that they say to take care of it, change your oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, do regular tune-ups, flush the transmission when it needs it, don't wait till it's going to ruin it to do it, all those kind of things. If you do that, almost every car, if you can keep it from rusting out, granted, up in the northern area, the rust, it doesn't matter how well you keep it. If you drive it, it rusts. But if you can keep it from rusting out, these cars go 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 miles.
I'm coming up on 280,000 miles on my RAV4, and I have done nothing but take care of this thing every 5,000 miles.
Can I jump in here for a second?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate the help. I went on a vacation with my wife a month ago, give or take, and we went down to the Houston area. Wonderful people, by the way. Texas, love you. You're great. Keep going back. It was weird driving around in Houston. There were so many absolute shit boxes driving down the road.
Yep.
Beat, old, not new ones beat up, old, like a 1998 Chevy half-ton pickup. Yeah. Beat to hell. And guess what was on every one of the wheel arches?
Oh no. Go ahead.
Nothing. It was exactly how it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
It was a little beat up. Here,
it wasn't a hole.
It was gone.
Yeah.
The vehicles here don't last long enough to look like that because they rust out and their frames are shot.
Right.
It was amazing if you just can take care of it or live in a place where there's no salt on the roads.
Take care of the drivetrain. But no, even when we're talking about protecting our assets, we're going to go a little bit long, and I know that Jason has a hard stop here pretty soon, but really, even digitally, we're online all the time. We do our banking online, we do our buying online, we do all kinds of things online. Protect yourself. Protect yourself. 2-factor authentication, 3-factor authentication if you can. Do anything you can to protect your information, because it just takes like that. It's gone. It's gone. And I can't stress that more. I mean, I don't know if anybody else has ever had their identity.
Well, in watch,
I have. So
yeah,
I know.
I have too.
Yeah, go ahead.
The other thing you have to notice. So I shop regularly and watch like the Temu, Wish, Sheen or Shine, however you say it. All of those. There's all kinds of great stuff. I get little $5 boxes to hold my paintbrushes and stuff. That cheap garbage. But their marketing strategies are absolute brilliance. It's just barrage you with as much and everywhere, always offer deals, offer that. They are freaking out. I have noticed in the last week an enormous increase in their advertising and their marketing right now to try and get you to buy stuff. Watch, this is part of it, she in, she out, either way. But watch what's happening, because it's really easy to be scammed right now. So this is especially the digital stuff. There's a big one that's been going around the last 4 or 5 months, and they've I get the texts once in a while too, saying that you owe $25 on a toll in Missouri.
Don't click it. Don't click it. Don't click crap in your freaking email. I don't know how to tell everybody out there right now. I've dealt with it with everybody that I know. Quit clicking shit in your email. If you have a bank account with like mine, Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo sends me a freaking email that says, hey, we're going to offer you this, or hey, you owe that, or hey, something else happened. Here's the clicker to click over to get to your account. Don't freaking click it.
Also, Bruce, it doesn't matter.
Wants you to click it.
It doesn't matter how good it looks.
Yes,
because
exactly.
faking it is so easy.
Easy.
Even the links and everything that'll take you to whole websites that look like you're in your bed. No, it's not.
Do not answer your phone and say yes.
I always answer my phone with my social security number.
It's amazing. That's just a couple of things, the way to protect yourself. Now let's talk about.
I answer my phone with Ken's social security number too.
Yeah, it's working so far. Yeah, Bruce is the only one that doesn't.
Oh, God.
I just appreciate it's written in the bathroom. It's written on the wall in the bathroom here.
Ice doesn't know that.
And the Duchess is sitting there. We're going spam. Wonderful spam. Sorry, I digress.
That's a good song.
I went Monty Python.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk
off the rails enough for you yet, Bruce?
Yeah, let's talk. You got me on the ceiling already, but
we should have an episode about clicking links.
I'm telling you, for sure.
We'll call it clinks.
An IT guy on that. That'd be great if we could find an
It'll
IT
be Colonel Clink
in the morning. We do clickbait in the morning.
I click nothing.
I don't know how many times that you've seen it in the news that people do not have enough money to cover even a $500 emergency.
They say 50% of the country can't do it.
It pains me. It pains me and pains me. And I'm sitting here telling you from the top of the sky to the bottom of my feet, don't do this anymore. Believe me right here. The guy who was most guilty of all of this. I've been through it. I know what it is to be without a fucking penny to your name. And here I am, like in the most expensive hobby that there fucking is. Excuse my French, but I mean, podcasting is a big hobby. But please, please, please start getting yourself an emergency fund. In fact, I've got a little freaking little thing going on. See this here? This is an envelope. This is an envelope. And this right here is a pin. Let's do something with this envelope. Okay, hold on.
2 girls, 1 cup.
While you're getting that ready there, Bruce, I'm going to talk about
What does that say?
You spelled emergency wrong.
It's emergency fund.
Take the D off it.
Take that.
Now you're onto something.
Take that dollar. That $1. $1 a day. How many of these do you spend a day before you get to work? I bet you a lot of you spend about $5 or $6 every day at the Starbucks, right?
I don't do Starbucks. I do a coffee.
I'm just saying. Bulk of it.
What if they took Bitcoin?
And you do that, and you put that in here. You put that in here like this, and you have an emergency fund. It might just be $1 now. It might just be $1 now, right? Might just be $1 now.
You know what? Mine.
Go ahead.
That does work. It does work. But mine doesn't say emergency fund on the envelope. It says total wine.
You can also do one.
Same thing.
You can also do one for like your homeowner's insurance and your flood insurance and your snow insurance and all that other fucking insurance you got. You can also do one. What comes up every? Hey, hold on. What comes up every year? Car registrations come up every year. How do people live most of the time when they don't have money or they get strapped? They use a credit card, right? If you're using cash, you put stuff in cash like here, this auto repair, right? Auto repair is important.
I noticed they're all empty.
Home repair is important. These are because they're props. Mine
spent all of his money on an envelope box, and now he's got no money left
Sharpies.
to do.
How many people have pets? How many people don't have pet insurance?
Does a GIMP count?
How many people do this every week? How many people do this? How many people do this? Ken, you're going on vacation.
Oh, I'm doing that next week.
Hey, well, can I?
Do what we did?
Here's the big one.
Property tax to be eliminated.
It should be.
We just don't pay that anymore.
And then for you ladies out there, Duchess will like this.
Oh, I thought I was going to say something else.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll finish up when you're done there, Christian.
No, I'm just gonna let that one sit there for a while. Just let it go.
Bruce is killing my buzz. Look at you. This is my favorite thing.
Can
I
I
am.
can I just Bruce, can I
Go ahead.
take
Go
this
ahead.
idea?
Go ahead. Expand.
What this comes, the emergency fund is really important. You're right, because most people, I shouldn't say most,
Why is it
a
important?
big percentage of the public lives paycheck to paycheck to the point
Yes.
where they could not, they would not survive a $1,000 emergency need. Just go spend $1,000 on a thing right now.
Mhm.
Most people can't. So yes, an emergency fund is important. Now, how much should you put in there? It kind of depends on you. For I think a lot of people, 10 grand in a cash account that you never touch is a great idea. That is probably your first priority in establishing some sort of reasonable financial, a mature financial perspective.
Yep.
But beyond that, all these other things, it comes down to setting and living within a budget.
Yep.
You can do it one of a number of ways, and the envelopes are one of them.
Yep. It's not the only one. It's not the only way.
I'm going to recommend you try something like, there's one I can't remember. It's Monterey, maybe something. I can't remember. I know a guy who uses it and loves it. YNAB. It's You Need a Budget.
Yep.
Now, we're not getting paid for any of these.
Nope.
But these are all tools that you can use. You set a budget and you live within it and you save some money and you will be fine. You just have
Believe
to
me,
have some
it
maturity.
is so hard. It's the hardest thing that I ever did. 15 years or even more than that, 20 years ago, I had to bite the bullet. I had to accept the fact that I had so much consumer debt. It was over the top. I was in that spot. And believe me, if it wasn't for a couple of people who sat me down and said, you have to do this or you're done. You're done. And 20 years later, I'm a better man. I'm not living paycheck to paycheck, but I mean, I'm not rich either. I mean, I live by modest means. Me and kind of both, divulge, what we make. I mean, we make good money, but it's not great money. It's enough.
It was great money in 1998.
Yeah, it was great money in 1998. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact is that it all comes down to this. It comes down to cutting your expenses that you don't need, reduce your debt, whatever you can do, get out of freaking credit card debt.
I will say this though, that there's a mistake people make is they think they can sell their way out of a problem. So they start going around the house and selling a bunch of stuff. Now, that's a good way for a little Band-Aid here and there, but you have to make more money. So you can preserve all you want. You can say all this stuff, the old Dave Ramsey thing, it's all great.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And he's not wrong about anything he's saying. However, you have to have credit. You can't live this world without credit right now. You need it. And using credit responsibly is a fantastic thing. And you can, and if you're smart, you can play the game. And this is part of the credit thing I do is you find the 0% interest things and then you borrow that because you're paying it back before if you pay that all back before the interest, you actually made money because you haven't paid that interest and it hasn't been, it hasn't been compounding. Anyway, I've been doing that for years. It works. But
education is paramount. Education
you need to build and earlier in the show, the Duchess that's in our comment section here, from of course the Boomer Bunker podcast, another incredibly great show that you should listen to, Boomer Bunker. And she mentioned, she said there you go. She wishes that one of her hobbies made her money. Well, my advice to you is it can make you money. So she runs in marathons, little 5K marathon she just did, I think this weekend or today or something like that. That can make you money. So, think about creating a course, telling people for $10, this is how me at my, height, weight, and age, whatever it is, ran this marathon. This is the kind of thing this is the kind of thing you should look forward to. This is the kind of thing you want to do. You could do a monthly subscription for $5-10 a month. Suppose you have an interesting subscription about running. How many people in this country run? Tens of millions. Now, how many people of those tens of millions is starting? Maybe there's 500,000 people that are starting to run, and they're like, what do I do? And I'm not sure what to do. Well, you could be one of the people that for $10 a month, I will teach you what I know about running. I'm not a huge expert, but for $10 a month, if you get 1,000 people to give you $10 a month, you made 120 grand that year.
That's right. There's always somebody behind you.
On just talking about something that you are doing, that you're passionate about. I'm not saying it's easy. It's hard work to get it done and get build the audience, but you can do it.
Jason Stapleton says you're always smarter than somebody behind you, and they always want to pay you for your knowledge. That's what they do. They want to do that. So Aaron, get sponsors for NAT cars and put their logos on a windbreaker from Horrible Designs. So
we should sponsor her. That's a great idea.
We should sponsor her. Yeah, exactly. We'll put a banner on her and on her little number thing, and then she makes money.
It's a tie-in.
Yeah.
We love it. We love it. But anyway, we're going along. I know Jason's got a hard out, so we're going to let him go. And he's got some important things to do in the morning. But hey, I want to thank the panel here. I think we got a lot done today. I think that we actually came in. We did a podcast where we actually helped people instead of just
hopefully.
We hope we do. We really hope we do. But yeah, this is the essence of how this show is supposed to be. Bringing on a subject that is, hotbed right now, and trying to give some people some solutions. Go ahead, Ken.
Speaking of sponsorship, how could one sponsor this endeavor that we're doing?
Exactly. You know how you can sponsor that? All you have
to
do. Oh, you don't? Well,
how would you go about that, Bruce?
Well, you can go buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/weathersoul. That's buymeacoffee.com/weathersoul. Or you can go to, where's the other one here? Oh, you can go to patreon.com/weatheredsoul, and you can get all of our content that we put on a week before everybody else gets it live.
I thought you were going to
bonus content, that's what we get to do.
What about onlydadbods.com?
That's coming up. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Christian?
Well, you can go right now. The site is the domain will take you to a site where you can get on the newsletter.
There we go.
There's a newsletter for this already. So
Duchess is a proud Patreon subscriber to us. So be like the Duchess. I mean, if there's anybody, women out there that are listening to us, you want to be like the Duchess. So if you really want to be like the Duchess, you go to patreon.com/weatheredsoul. And if you want to get our calendar, that might
watch for it in 26 as the summer comes on. So
go ahead.
I was saying one of the reasons I was working on the yard today is to pretty it up a little bit for some of the model shoots that we're going to be doing at onlydadbods.com.
onlydadbodfans.com.
onlydadbodsfans.com.
We're going to get it right one of these days. We better get the other ones too, Christian, because I have a feeling that we're going to mess that up every single time.
I'll put it in.
Oh, there we go.
Go ahead and make a banner for it. I'm gonna plug our morning podcast as we do that.
Please do.
Okay, important update. Listen to the best morning show on X, the Weathered View, live on X every morning at 6 a.m. Pacific on your favorite podcast app. And you are more than welcome to come listen or participate in the discussion. All you have to do is follow me over at X, Bruce McGee, or also known as TWS. You can go over there. I don't have the link for you, but I'll put it in the show notes. Go over there. We are the best morning show on X. Sometimes we have Jason there when he can get there, but Ken's always there for at least a good 20 minutes before he gets his butt in his parking lot. And
it's a mobile show. It's a mobile show as we're driving into work.
Yeah, it's definitely a great show to go listen to. A great way to get your foot wet in the Weathered View point of view, and then you can come here every Sunday and see us on the Weather Report at 7 p.m. Pacific.
And I would say not a lot of X spaces can say this, but in what have we had? We're at like 50 as of this taping, 58, 59 episodes of the morning show.
The morning show? No, we're going to be at 300.
The morning show. Yeah, okay. We're at 300 episodes of the morning show. Not one accident.
Not one accident yet.
That's going to happen Monday.
Hopefully. Yeah.
No, we will do that. But anyway, no, we want to thank you for being here. Thank you guys for being on the panel. I thought it was a real great episode today. You guys come back here, like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. If you found it interesting and informative, please go out there and leave us a comment on any of the podcast apps that you can. Go ahead and share this with 4 of your friends and one person that you don't like, because we're going to grow this show every day. It does, we're just going to do it. Ken just jinxed us. But anyway, we're going to go and we're going to be back. We don't have a show next weekend because it's Easter weekend. We're going to take the weekend off and spend it with our families for Easter weekend. However you spend your Easter weekend is up to you. It really doesn't matter. But we're going to take the weekend off. Ken's going to be gone for the next couple of weeks. So I've got some people that I want to talk to see if they want to come on the podcast. I think one's kind of hanging around in the chat room. But we'll talk about that later. But I'm going to leave you guys like I leave you every time that we leave the Weather Report. You guys have a great week. Have a great Easter and be good to yourselves. We'll see you later, guys. Take care.